let's say you want to build a website. And the question is, how much can you budget for? Or how much should you budget for? In today's conversation, I want to explain to you how much does a website cost. So here's the approach I want you to really pay attention to. So there are essential website costs and there are ancillary or secondary website costs. So essential website costs are the primary ones. So we're talking about stuff like domain name. So you want to plan like $0 to $20 per year. Web hosting, $30 to $500 per year. Theme or template. If you don't like the free theme or the free template that the website builder is offering, you can try to buy one. So this will cost you somewhere from $0 to $100. We've seen actually themes that go all the way to $1,000 when it comes to e-commerce websites. And this is a one-time fee. If you want to budget for a professional web design, you can pay anywhere from $100 all the way to $5,000 and even plus. If you were to hire someone on Fiverr, on Freelancer, on or Upwork.com, you can pay like on the lower end. But if you were to hire someone locally or someone more experienced, then you might have to budget for a lot of money. If you were to go for a DIY website builder, then you want to plan for somewhere from $100 to $400 per year. And for an SSL certificate, think about $0 to $249 per year. So everything else is a one-time fee, including the professional web design. And so when we talk about domain name, of course, we're talking about the starting point of your website. So securing the right domain name is vital, especially if you're looking for a .com URL or a price top-level domain, a TLD. Top-level domains can be expensive because they represent a first stop after the root zone, meaning you have the desired domain name followed by .com. It's really, really important to really pay attention to that. So there are a lot of domain name services, including Namecheap, Domain.com, Google Domains, DreamHost, and Hover. Google Domains now has been transitioned to a Squarespace, as a matter of fact. So you got to think also about web hosting. So you want to pay attention to players such as Mocha Host, Enter Server, A2 Hosting, TMD Hosting, DreamHost. When it comes to when it comes to hosting, you have to pay attention to things like storage, bandwidth, the free SSL certificate, the free domain name, and also the starting price. Very important. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. We are going to have a wonderful conversation. Now let's talk about DIY website design. So it's important to understand that when you talk about website builders, you have those builders, they have inclusive packages. So if you are on a tight budget, using these packages to design a site yourself can save you a lot of cash. So those builders usually don't require any technical skills and utilize drag and drop features for your convenience. It may be overwhelming at first, but with a few minutes of trials and errors, you will be able to build your first website to your liking. So these programs may be free or inexpensive to use the basic features, but to access premium features such as, let's say, unique themes, you will need to pay higher subscription fees. And costs vary depending on the platform you subscribe to and the plan you choose, and they can run anywhere between $100 all the way to $500 a year, but most, in our experience, average around $200 a year. So when we talk about the best website builder platforms, you have Squarespace, you have Weebly, you have GoDaddy, you have Wix, and you have Shopify. And you also have to think about professional website designers. So if you really, let's say you want to have a fully customized website, you really want to and you are ready to pay for it, then think about professional website designers. You might decide that building the website on your own just is not really a cup of tea, right? That's fine, as long as you know that it will cost you more to have the site built. Hiring a professional website designer can take a huge burden off your shoulders and provide you with a unique and beautiful website, that's for sure. Designers can charge per hour or a flat rate for the allotted project, but you want someone who has a strong portfolio because because if you have fewer designs reverts, you will love the job. But if somebody doesn't have a strong portfolio, you don't want to go through the back and forth, the design reverts. You don't want that. So you really want to get envisioned. You want to really have a clear vision of what you want. So when working with a designer, it helps to show them the types of websites that you like that will be similar to yours. This gives the designer a starting point. Also, you want to go over color schemes to make sure the site fits your brain and what you want to show your readers, right? It's all about the readers. Cost can vary widely depending on experience and the needs of the projects, but it is not uncommon to get quotes between $30 to $100 plus per hour. Per hour. Very important. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how much does a website cost. I want to talk to you also about SSL. So you want to really budget for SSL certificates. When we talk about SSL, we're talking about the security of your website. Many small businesses don't realize how important it is to sign up for a secure sockets layer service provider, an SSL service provider. An SSL certificate is really a digital authentication of your website's identity and enables an encrypted connection for security purposes. It's also required to accept online payments, so any online store will need an SSL. An SSL certificate means that your visitors are protected from unwanted cyber attacks. Some browsers will divert users away from websites without SSL certification with the message, "This site may not be secure." For most visitors, this is enough to deter them from clicking through to the site. So this certificate changes your sites from HTTP to an HTTPS prefix in the web domain, showing web browsers that you have invested in security for the website. This is really good. So in many instances, you can get an SSL certificate for free through your web hosting provider. However, you can opt to purchase an SSL certificate from a third-party provider as well. So when we talk about the best SSL certificates, actually you have players such as Komodo, you have SSL.com, you have DigiCert, you have Sectigo, and you have Alpha SSL. So SSL also helps with the search engine optimization, so SEO, and the flow of data to and from the sites. Fees for SSL vary from free to around $249 a year, and some website builders include this certificate at no additional cost. So you want to consider that, think of this as a valuable perk if you see it offered. Either way, you want your website to have an SSL certificate to gain the confidence of readers from around the world, the web. So when we talk about the SSL, we have all kinds of SSLs. You have DV, so this is domain validation. EV, so you have encryption validation, and OV, you have organization validation. So this is really something you need to pay attention to. And so for you have to pay attention to the kind of stores you want to have. So if you want to have, let's say, if you want to have an online store, you need to have the strongest sort of validation, which is the online, the organization validation. This is really important. I mean, it will cost you though, but it is worth it. I want to talk to you about additional costs to consider. So the thing is, when we talk about how much does a website cost, obviously we're talking about domain name, that's for sure. Web hosting, that's for sure. DIY web design, that's for sure. SSL, that's for sure. But you have to think about add-ons and plugins. And the thing is that whether you are subscribed to a website building site using WordPress or are looking to venture into e-commerce, you will likely need add-ons known as plugins. These plugins can enable features such as on-page testimonials, contact forms, and newsletter subscriptions, just to name a few. So the way we analyze add-ons is kind of similar to, let's say you have your main dish and you need some kind of seasoning, right? If you want to enjoy the dish and you want some seasoning, those add-ons, those plugins are the seasoning. So there are loads of free versions as well as paid plugins. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what features are worth spending money on. So depending on the new function that you want, it could be free or an annual subscription fee of $100 plus per year. And use plugins sparingly, because the more plugins you add to your site, the more the site needs to process information prior to loading. So this can slow speeds down, and that's not really good for user experience or SEO. Only add plugins that you feel will really enhance your visitors' experience while on the site. And regularly update plugins to make sure they meet the most current standards and speeds. You want to delete any plugins that you are no longer using. This is really important because this is taking up space and you don't want that. And so this is an additional cost you need to think about. And also you might think about hiring a webmaster So if you plan to roll out a large website, you may need to consider hiring a webmaster or a content manager. So this individual will manage and maintain the website as well as manage and update site content. And so the cost to hire a webmaster or content manager varies by which role best suits your organization's needs, whether you want to hire an individual full-time, part-time, or on a contractual basis. In some instances, it could actually involve a couple of hours per month, or for a full-time position, it could be upwards of $6,500 per month. So it really depends on the sophistication and the size of the website, and also the number of domains you want to maintain. Let's talk about search engine optimization, which is quite essential if you want to have a presence on the web for a long run. The thing is, your website needs to rank well on Google, right? Unfortunately, this doesn't just happen by chance. It takes work and hard work, I should add. If you are looking at ranking your website on the first page of search engine results pages, the SERPs, you may need to hire a search engine optimization specialist. This may cost anywhere between $500 to $6,000 per month. It depends on how much work you need them to do on content and web pages. The more pages that you need to optimize, the more an SEO expert will cost. And so this individual will assist in recommending content or what keywords you want to rank for, and providing monthly reports on how the strategy is working. And if you're using WordPress to host your content, you will get far more flexibility, but also WordPress sites generally rank better on Google. And another benefits of hiring an SEO specialist is that they should inform you whether or not any of your site's pages are experiencing issues such as a 404 code, page not found. Errors are not good for your user experience and thus can harm your SEO rankings if not properly addressed, right? So you want to pay attention to that. And also, let's talk about images and design. This is another element you might need to spend money on. So another cost associated with creating a website is the artwork. So whether it is your company's corporate image, product shots, or lifestyle shots, these assets can add up quickly. So while you can tap into relative free images for free from stock image sites such as Pexels or Pixabay, they won't separate your business from the competition, really, if you really think about it. So relative free images, though, are cheaper than having a photo shoot. A relative free image can range from free to $100, while a product photo shoot might cost somewhere from $25 to $500 an hour for a photographer to capture unique images for your website. So if you are able, that's financially speaking, it is always worth your time to actually hire a photographer to take images of your offerings, hire a graphic designer, or subscribe to an extensive stock library such as Shutterstock. As a rule of thumb, make sure that the professionals you hire to assist you with your website know what they're doing. A simple mistake can shut down your website and in turn lose your revenue. Also, think about web design tips, and I want to give you a few web design tips and examples. Many of the drag and drop platforms make designing your own website quick and easy. However, some might prefer to hand over the design elements to another person or company. And this is really important. So you might want to think about the best when it comes to what really fits your specific niche. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about how much does a website cost. Let me talk to you about website costs by industry. This is really important. Now, your website build may cost a little different amount depending on the industry you're in. Certain industries will require certain elements to be integrated, and this may add up to the ultimate cost when handing the design elements over, right? Of course, the number of total pages also affects the cost and work that must be done to get the website up and running. It's really important. So when we talk about, let's say business type, if you're a small business website, let's say up to 16 pages, think about the web design cost somewhere from $2,000 to $9,000 and the annual site maintenance cost up to $1,200. If you have a corporate website, let's say up to 75 pages, think about $10,000 all the way to $35,000. Those are the website design costs. And the annual site maintenance cost, you are looking at up to $15,000. When it comes to e-commerce websites, here we're speaking about up to 1,000 products. Think about web design cost anywhere from $5,000 all the way to $55,000. And you might think about annual site maintenance cost of up to $30,000. And if you have a web application, here we're speaking about up to 2,000 pages. Think about web design costs anywhere from $6,000 all the way to $75,000. And the annual site maintenance cost up to $60,000. One thing I need to say here is that you need to keep in mind that these costs are handing over the website completely for another party to design, code, and maintain. Many website owners will start with a bootstrap budget and keep as many things in-house as possible. As the business grows, they will upgrade and hand off some of the management to another party to maintain. It makes sense to save money while you're new and growing and invest in more elements as you have more revenue. Most websites will actually fall into the first category of small business websites. This is an informational website that has, let's say, some information about the company, its missions, its history, and its products or services. It may have or may not have a purchase shopping cart or response form to fill out to make it easy for visitors to buy or get more information about its products or services. And corporate websites are more in-depth and may have studies, the site, or independent research added to the pages. So because there are more pages involved, the cost will go up naturally. And also, e-commerce websites are another common website. Many website owners on a budget will use a subscription service such as, let's say, Shopify for about $39 per month to get started. As they grow their business, they may look to get custom solutions that enhance the user experience. And the most expensive website is an application, an app. This involves a lot of coding to make things happen. You may develop your own customer relationship management CRM to manage content and content providers on the platform. A custom solution will cost more than buying a template and integrating it. Let me actually answer a few questions in the bonus section here. So it's really important to really answer some of the questions that our viewers have sent us. And the most important thing to understand here is that, how much should you really pay for a website? It really depends on your budget. And to make a small business website, think about paying anywhere from $200 to $300 as an initial investment. And maintenance will actually cost you somewhere from $5 to $50 per month, depending on whether you have an online store. And so when we talk about web design and web development, they're really two different things. Web design is focused on how the website will look and feel to browsers. This means they will need to be able to produce work that is easy to understand, eye-catching, and unique. Web development involves implementing these designs on the website's back end and managing the site structure. So if you recruit an experienced designer, those two roles can potentially both be filled by the same candidate. So you definitely want your website to be responsive because right now we live in a world where a lot of folks are actually browsing the web through mobile devices. So you want your website to be actually mobile friendly to handheld devices, smartphones, and tablets. And so when we talk about website design, so sometimes you hear the term wireframe. So what is a wireframe? Well, before any design can occur, it's always best practice to review a wireframe design for your website. And a wireframe gives you an idea of how pages will look, how much space elements will take up, and what navigation should be in place. It is a very basic way to show what a final product will look like before in-depth work begins. And what are carousel and hero images? Well, when referring to a carousel, web designers are talking about a slideshow on the landing page of your website. Carousels helps to reduce clutter on the page and allow you to display multiple messages about different offerings. So with regard to a hero image, this is a large image placed on top of the page, which usually extends the width of the page. And when you actually build your own website or hire someone to actually build a website for you, you really need to pay attention to UX and UI. So UX basically is a user experience and UI is user interface. And user experience is the process where the designer focuses on providing users with the best experience. And if done correctly, and you should do it correctly, users will find navigating the site easy, enjoyable, and relevant to them. Ensuring your site's UX is top-notch will encourage users to explore more of it while they are on the page itself or later on in the future. Thank you so much for your attention, boss. I really appreciate it. Let me quickly do a recap here. So in today's conversation, I explained to you how much a website does cost. So I give you the approach. I talked to you about the essential website cost. We talked about the domain name, the web hosting, the DIY website design, SSL, and we talked about the add-ons and plugins, talking about hiring a webmaster, thinking about SEOs, image and designs. Okay. And then I answer a few questions depending on the industry. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.